Hi everybody, and welcome to the What's New webinar for the latest version of Mission Control that is being released onto the App Exchange on Friday the 21st of December 2018. So version 1.49 has got a number of different features, so let's jump in and take a look. So what's new? We've got a number of new major features coming, as well as some enhancements to some existing features. So the PMO dashboard has been styled into Lightning, and the major enhancement to that is you now have the ability to look at the revenue recognition for your projects. We're also introducing dates at the checklist item level. We have a new action splitter that allows you to take one action and split it into two. You can also track your completed and remaining hours at an individual contributor level. We have a number of new utility bar features that are also going to be accessible via the trackpad, and a couple of enhancements that we've made to the existing role utilization report. In addition, a few enhancements applied to the Gantt chart. You can now also schedule actions to start at a specific time, and we've had some major enhancements added to the calendar converter on the timesheet, as well as some new features on the billing event. And a few minor features we'll take a closer look at as we go through. So the revenue recognition is one of the major features that's coming in within version 1.49. So the PMO dashboard obviously already exists in the system, and that's basically been styled for Lightning experience. And what we've done, so all of the functionality is exactly the same. The three new features that you can do there at the action level: you can access your chatter feed, you can also access the resource assignment wizard, and quickly see which resources have been allocated to each individual action. The main feature that's being added to the PMO is the revenue recognition, which is going to give you the ability to look into the revenue as it's been scheduled, completed, what your earned value is, and then what your overall projected revenue is across the life cycle of the project. Now, we've also added in dates at the checklist item level. So what you can do is obviously schedule individual checklists within an action to be starting and ending at specific times, whereas previously they were taking the full duration of the action. We've also had a number of requests from customers that want to be able to split an action into two separate actions. So you might already have an action that's underway, and you need to take that and then split it out. So there might be a 2-week delay, and then you want to basically schedule the rest of that action for 2 weeks' time. So what you can do is actually split that into two separate actions. You can obviously set the new dates for the new action. You can work out who's going to be the owner and the contributors of each of the individual actions, split the hours between the two, and also allocate the checklists to either the original action or the new one. We also had a request from customers to have the ability to track the completed and remaining hours for each individual contributor as well. So we've just added in that functionality. For the role utilization, we've added in two new features. So at the bottom of the report, there is now a grand total giving you a summary of all of the data that's being shown for each individual role. And you now also have the ability to export the raw data as a CSV file for offline analysis. Now, the Gantt charts had two major enhancements. You now have the ability to use inline editing to quickly create new milestones, actions, and checklist items directly on the Gantt chart rather than creating them one at a time. And we also have introduced the ability to hide specific milestones, actions, or checklist items from the Gantt. Now, we always had the ability to specify the start hour and start minute values of individual actions, but that was very much tied to when you were creating events linked to an action. We've now made those fields available irrelevant of using that event feature, and that allows you to allocate when that action needs to start. So you can quickly drill into a person's day to see when the hours are allocated for. So you're going to have visibility of the breakdown based on start time on the hours tab of the scheduler and on the resource assignment wizard. Now, the calendar converter previously only allowed you to convert Salesforce events into time logs. So we've added in a few enhancements to that. So you will now also see actions that have a specific start time. They'll be visible, so you can quickly convert those into time logs. And you also have the ability to drag and drop directly on the calendar to convert to create new time logs, as well as if you make mistakes, you can quickly adjust those durations or change the dates of your time logs as well. Billing events, we've had a request from some customers that when they're doing time and materials projects, they're raising their invoices and they're showing an appendices of the billable time logs, but they would also like to show the non-billable time logs as well. So we've added that in as an optional feature to where you can include a secondary appendix showing you all of the non-billable work that has been done during that billing period. And we've also applied a number of minor enhancements to existing features within the system. So we've added in some additional logic to the time log trigger, where if you are actively tracking time on one existing action and you then start tracking time on another action, the time tracking on the original action will be automatically stopped. And you can also go into an individual time log and manually specify the start and end time, and that will calculate the hours completed value for you. The project builder has been enhanced to where it can be directly added to the project page layout in Lightning Experience, and you can quickly add in new actions directly within any of the milestone columns. The program planner can also now be added to the program detail page, and we've applied an additional filter to the program planner where you can quickly filter down based on requirement names containing a certain value. The action pad filters have been enhanced, so you can still use the list view features from the action object, but in addition to that, you can switch over and use the custom filters that you have on the whiteboard. So the reason we've added those in, people are wanting to be able to filter down, for example, say where you are an action owner or where you are a contributor. So you can use those custom filters instead of the action list views. We've also added in a checkbox field on the project that can allow you to exclude the detail of that project from the daily digest, and the various slide out panels on the trackpad, the action pad, and the issue log can be collapsed or expanded based on your personal preference. We've also added in a new pick list field at the action level that allows you to categorize the type of activity that action is doing. So you'll be able to put in your own values into that type field, and then obviously use that to run reports on categorizing the type of activity you're doing. And one final request we had was anyone who is overriding the role-based rates on an individual project will be doing that through the Manage Rates feature. And by default, it would preload anyone that was an action owner on a project. We've also added in the ability to preload anyone who is a contributor on that project as well. Okay, so let's jump in and take a look at some of those major features in a bit more detail. So as I mentioned, the PMO dashboard has been redeveloped in Lightning Experience. Now, all of the existing functionality still exists as you know it. You can do your CPI and your SPI for your current week and for a comparative week. The main features that we've added in on the PMO dashboard are that you can, when you drill down into the individual actions, you can view the chatter feed, so you can get through to start collaborating with colleagues, asking them questions. You can also go through to the resource assignment wizard if you do actually need to make any changes to who is actually working on that. And you can also hover over the resource allocation to see who's actually been assigned to it currently. So the major thing that's really been added into the PMO is the revenue recognition. So this is a page that lets us go in and select a date range, and we can start to assess how the revenue is being forecasted or recognized throughout the project. So I've selected a date range here. I can choose whether I'm going to be looking at weekly or monthly, and I get two summary charts here. So I can look at my revenue recognition, and I can also look at the profit and loss. So I can see my scheduled value, my completed value, my earned value, and my projected completed value, as well as my the same values for my profit and loss over there. Now, as I scroll down, you'll see I'm looking at it for each week, and I can see all of the projects that are occurring during each week, and then what my scheduled values are, what my completed values are, what my earned value is, and what my projected completed values are as well. So this gives me like obviously a forecast of what's coming in the future, and also the actuals around what we've recognized so far during the project. Now I can look at any existing project that is being chosen to be displayed on the PMO dashboard will be factored into the revenue recognition here, and I can also look at that on an individual project as well. So you'll see the revenue recognition tab is available on the project overview, and it gives me the entire same information broken down for this one individual project. So previously, checklist items didn't have their own date fields. When viewing them on the Gantt chart, for example, they would simply inherit the dates of the action that they relate to. You've now got the ability to assign start date and end dates to individual checklist items, so you can like more accurately define when they need to happen within an action's duration. So on this example here, you'll see that I've got an action for designing wireframes, and currently all three checklist items are scheduled to be across the whole duration. Now I can actually start to redefine this. So I could say, well, okay, well that one's going to get done on the Wednesday, and this might actually get done on the Wednesday, but it's also going to take me 2 days. So I'm going to start extending that out for a 2-day period. So you can see obviously the action is just expanding to capture the full duration of the individual checklist items, and all of the dates will be kept up to date for you. Now you can actually increase the duration of the action, even though it's exceeding when the checklist items are happening as well. So you can also access those checklist item dates wherever you're editing a checklist item. So if I double click into it on the Gantt chart, you'll see that those fields are now available for me to edit manually there as well. In addition to that, you can also access them from wherever you can create a checklist item. So that whether that's on the Create Actions page, the whiteboard, or the project overview as well. So hopefully this will give you a bit more granular level scheduling of those checklist items as and when they need to get done. So we're going to take a look at the action splitter now, and this is a new component that's been added in to enable you to take an existing action and split it into 2 separate actions. So, for example, you may have originally scheduled an action to be worked on for 3 consecutive days, for example, Monday through to Wednesday, and with 24 hours of effort scheduled. And having worked on that action on the Monday, maybe I've been given something else to work on during Tuesday and Wednesday, so I need to be able to reschedule that to when I'm going to be doing the remaining 2 days worth of effort. So if I was to just extend the end date out to Friday, it would actually then assume I would be doing the remaining hours across those 4 days, i.e. Tuesday through to Friday. Whereas that's not really the case. What I'm actually going to be doing is going off and working on something else for Tuesday and Wednesday, and then coming back to this action on the Thursday and Friday. So in this instance, what we would want to do is actually split out the action. So what we've got now, which is available on the project overview on the overview tab, we have access to this new icon over here on the right hand side called the action splitter. So you'll see here I've got an action for the design wireframes. I'm the owner. I can see when it's due to be worked on, and there's 8 hours scheduled and 5 hours has been completed. So if I click onto the action splitter, what it does is opens up that new action. So it opens up and gives me the current action and my new action. So it's shown me all of the details so far. So obviously I can see that I'm the owner. I do have contributors there helping me. That's currently scheduled for the for December the 18th. And what I've done so far is obviously I've done 5 hours. So it's suggesting that I at least leave my hours scheduled for this current action to be 5, and it's taking the remaining 3 and putting that over on my new action. If I carry on down, you'll see that out of the 3 checklist items that are attached to this action, 2 of them have already been completed, so they're being left with the original action, and anything that is not yet complete is being parented to the new action. So I simply just add in my new dates for the new action, and then click on Save. And what's happened there, you can see that the remaining three hours has been split away from the original action and is now scheduled for the 20th. We've received various requests from customers around having the ability to report on the hours completed and hours remaining for individual contributors of an action. So to support this request, a number of new fields have been added to the contributor object. So you'll need to add these to your page layout. But you'll see now we have fields for the hours completed, both billable and non-billable, and total hours completed, as well as the same values for the hours remaining as well. So they're available on the individual contributor record, obviously to give you more information within the system, but they can also be reported on in any custom reports you create as well. We've added in 3 new components into Mission Control that will allow you to quickly create new records within the system. So they've been made available on the utility bar in Lightning. So down on the bottom where we have our utility bar, you'll see we've now got 3 new features where we can add a new risk into the system, or we could add a new issue, or we could add a new requirement. So these are just quick create areas where you can quickly add those new records into the system. Now, the add risk and the add issue, as they're appropriate to projects, they can also be made available on the trackpad as well. So that's obviously controlled via the role settings, the way you control which tabs are available on the trackpad for all of the other features as well. So again, just quickly able to access the add risk, or we can add in a new issue. We've added in 2 new features to the role utilization report. So as normal, you'd go to the role utilization and you'll see the individual entries for each person. Now, at the bottom of the report, you'll see that it also features a grand total, giving you a summary of what's going on across everyone being viewed on that report. So giving you a quick way to summarize that information. The other feature is you also have the ability to export the raw data to a CSV file. So simply by clicking that button, it's going to download all the raw data into a CSV so you can do offline analysis. We've added in those 2 new features to the Gantt chart, both the ability to inline edit and also hide information from the Gantt chart as well. So first of all, we're going to take a quick look at the inline edit capability. So you can see here I've purely got a project. There's no information underneath that. So what I'm able to do is actually click on this button. So to turn on the inline capability, I have to click that button, and you'll see that automatically adds this placeholder for a new record to be added to the Gantt. So if I click into there, I'm able to add in a new record. So what I'm going to do is first of all create a milestone. So that immediately adds that. So then if I add another one, it just keeps adding them in at the same level as the previous one. So then I've got my 3 milestones. So maybe now what I want to do is start adding in some actions. So first of all, I'm going to say I need to get some wireframes designed. So that will add that in as a milestone. But what I can do is actually drag that up and start to parent that underneath one of the existing milestones that I've created. So that's now made that into an action. So then the next time I go back and create another record, you'll see it adds it in as another action. So I'm able to quickly create all of the records at the certain level that I need. Now, once they're all done, I can actually just start dragging them down and reparenting them to the relevant milestone as well. Now, what I can also do is create checklist items as well as milestones and actions. So I've quickly been able to create the entire project plan there, but all my milestones, my actions, and my checklist items. Now, you can't specify an action owner at this stage. So what you'd need to do is actually double click into each record to assign the owners. But at this stage, what I could do is click on save and then start adding in additional information like rescheduling the dates and so on. So there I've got my entire project all built out and scheduled in. Now, in terms of the ability to hide individual records, just as a reminder, you can hide the milestone, and that will hide all of the actions and checklist items underneath that. You can also hide individual actions, which would also hide all of its related checklist items, or you can hide individual checklist items as well. So we're going to jump in and just do one of each there. So first of all, I'm going to be hiding this this milestone. So double click and exclude from Gantt here. I'm also going to choose to exclude this action. And I'm just going to exclude the homepage checklist item. So once I click save, you'll see that those individual records have all been hidden from the Gantt chart. So it allows you to have information there for internal use, but you're not necessarily representing it in the Gantt chart that you might be sending to your customer, for example. The action object already had two fields included on it called the start hour and start minute that were primarily used in conjunction with the event checkbox field when creating an event related to the action. In most components throughout the system, these fields only became visible if the event field was set to true. They've actually now been made visible regardless of that event value, so users can start specifying the required start time of an action. So over on the trackpad, you can see I'm creating a new action, and I now have visibility of those two fields, so I can specify when during the day that action needs to be scheduled. And the benefit of that is that you can then break into the detail of when an action is set for within a particular day. So if I take a look on this action here, that information has become available on the resource assignment wizard. So if I click into there and click on search, you'll see now what I can do is actually drill into the detail behind each person's allocation, and I can see exactly when each of the hours allocation has been scheduled for. So that will help you identify when you think you can get a smaller piece of work allocated to someone. The same information has also been made available on the scheduler. So if we click onto the hours tab, we have that same capability of drilling down into the detail. So we can see exactly at what point in the day people are allocated to do specific actions. So previously on the calendar converter within the timesheet, what you used to be able to do was visualize Salesforce events like we can here, and we could click into that and then convert that to a time log on a project. So we've added in a few new features to the calendar converter, which we're super excited about. So to support the scheduling of actions to specific times of the day, what we can now see are individual actions that are allocated to a particular point in time. So these examples here are actions, which we can identify by the green action icon, as opposed to a Salesforce event, which just has the gray clock. So the Salesforce event can still be converted to a piece of time as normal. So that converts that as a time log on that project. You also have the ability to convert the action into a time log as well. Now, once you have converted that, you'll see that it turns into a red clock, identifying that it's a time log now and not an action. The other really cool feature that we've got is the ability to actually just create brand new time log records straight from here using a drag and drop functionality. So just by dragging onto the day there, we can automatically say that we've just done 4 hours work and allocate it to a particular action on a project. Now, where it's a time log, what we can also do is actually adjust the duration. So if we realize that we've done that for too long, we can just automatically reduce the amount of hours that that time log was for. We might also think that actually that wasn't on Wednesday, it happened on Tuesday. So we can reschedule that as well. We can reparent that to the particular day. So super excited about those really cool features that have come to the calendar converter. So look forward to hearing how you're going to be getting on using those. So we also had a request from some customers to have the ability to include non-billable time logs as an appendices to the billing event PDF. So basically to demonstrate to their customers the additional unbilled work that may have taken place during a billing period. So to support this request, a new field has been added to the project object called include non-billable time in appendix. So providing that field is ticked when you're generating your periodic billing events, any non-billable time will also be associated to your billing event item as well. And once that's been done, what you'll see is on the invoice PDF, you'll still, if you scroll down, you'll still have the billable time logs, but then you'll have a second appendix showing you all of the non-billable time logs that have been incorporated into that billing period as well. Okay, I hope you enjoyed all of those new features, and hope you're excited as we are to see those enhancements coming to the product. So let's take a look now. When are they going to be available? So as I mentioned earlier, they're available for you to manually upgrade from the App Exchange as of 21st of December. They will be automatically upgraded to all sandbox orgs on the 5th of January 2019, and they will be automatically upgraded to all production orgs on the 12th of January 2019. So that's everything. Obviously, thank you for your time. As I say, super excited to be able to deliver these exciting features for you just before the holidays. And we look forward to hearing your feedback and how you get on with them. Thanks, everybody. Bye.